Big love and respect, everybody in YouTube world. Chris Miner and Slick Dissident on the dance floor.
What's up?
Yeah, a joy and a pleasure to see all of our friends already piling in. I see Peter Shell. Give thanks and praise, Peter. And Ronan's in the hizzy.
Of course, Ronan's the man.
What's up,
Kaplan's
Ronan?
here.
Kabir and Kaplan. Yeah, thanks for coming to join everybody. I'm glad you all made it. Tonight is just free flow, anything goes. I got a bunch of my little, graphics that I love to circulate and share, but and we also have a couple invitations that might be late arrivals. Silas may or may not join us, and a couple of other buddies might come and join the party.
Yeah, we shall see.
James, big love, James. Yeah. So it is Bonkersville in the universe. It is so Bonkersville. How many times has Three-Eye Atlas shapeshifted since we talked?
Dude, I think it's a big. I said this now weeks back that I looked up what they were saying at some of the observatories, and the stuff I could actually find that wasn't just a post about YouTubers. It was just like a light. Like it was just like a far distant, look like a star planet type thing. Yeah. And that's all I was seeing it from actual. So I don't know where the sources were that were saying it was all these weird things. It almost seems like obviously it seems like a huge op, but Avi Loeb was giving it, I guess, credit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be an astronomer.
Totally. The last when Oumuamua came through, they pulled out all the big science heads to give it its publicity campaign, and that was before Stephen Hawking had passed away. Am I correct? Am I remembering Stephen Hawking chimed in on Oumuamua?
I think he was dead.
Was he dead already?
Okay, because Avi Loeb was the one. He was the same guy. Who started the guy from Harvard. Let me make sure that Stephen Hawking was dead. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I do remember Stephen Hawking's biography film was circulated soon in that time frame.
Yeah, he died in 2018. So I don't know, when did Oumuamua come out?
I think Oumuamua was before 16.
So maybe he did. You might be right.
Okay. Well, I just noticed that Stephen Hawking was on everybody's mind in that window between his film about his life, his passing away, and the Oumuamua. It was kind of all compressed maybe in the same year or a couple of years of window time.
Oh, discovered October 2017. But I'm sure there was some sort of weird connection. I wouldn't doubt.
Yeah. And I always loved Stephen Hawking. I thought that everything was on the up and up. And the more I looked into it, the more I just can't see it as straight, clear cut whatsoever at this point. I kind of see him as like a Helen Keller 2.0 or our generation's Helen Keller, so to say. No. And the fascinating correspondence between him and Helen Keller is the darkness of the abyss, the great unknowing, and so he had given characteristics and language around the black hole and the obscure radiation that comes out of black holes that we even know they exist because it's all theoretical. But that's just a strange harmonic nihilistic packaging that Helen Keller also seems to have represented in some way in her day. Mm-hmm. And then there's this other common factor here is what I call the chair-attable cause. And chair-attable cause is a stellar truth. The Auriga, the lame charioteer, is over the shoulder of Taurus the bull. I think a lot of academia wants you to think that Perseus is Mithras. And I have a great amount of evidence to just shift everybody 10 degrees over and look at Auriga, the lame charioteer, who is on the shoulder of the bull, as being a better encode of Mithra.
And well,
It's
in all the Mithras symbolism, it's always upper left corner,
yes,
right?
yes.
Where the guy who's slicing the bull's throat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's also another ingredient is there's always two torch bearers in the
Yeah.
frame, kind of
Look.
guarding the door, and
And
that's
then there's even
Gemini.
sometimes like Lady Liberty or it would be Hera maybe or something like that. One of these
Yeah,
uh incarnations of the Lucifer, Hera, whatever the hell it is, in the upper left corner too, above
yes,
the whole all of the action.
yes, yes. So the fascinating thing about the patterning from Helen Keller to Stephen Hawking is that darkness, that unknowing, that abyss. But then there's another social engineering component here of you guys aren't keeping up the slack. Look at these challenged individuals accelerating and succeeding and getting all these laurels because they're challenged, and that of course should make you feel insufficient, or that you're not keeping doing your part in society. And that is the grand theme of the charitable cause program that is always being served up to the masses. And I got to say, it's weird, but I think that Stephen Hawking's mantle is now in the hands of Greta Thunberg. Greta Tintin, double vax injured Tintin, Eleonora Thunberg. I think she's very much holding that old mantle of somebody who is an underdog. They're lame to the extent that it kind of hurts to look at them. You don't want to.
Hard. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
rough with her.
Yes. So in a strange way, I think Greta Tintin, Eleonora Thunberg is rocking the Aeon card. And the Aeon card is card number XX. And we've been on this one a million times. This is one of their favorite cards, but it is XX, and that's her middle name, Tintin, just like the dog, you know?
Really? Oh, I didn't know that was okay. Well, I figured that's what you were saying. But then the XX, the double cross, that's the British secret, one of their secret, what is it, MI6 type organizations, intelligence organizations, right?
Yes, and it's very Knights Templar. The Lorraine cross comes to mind. The cross of Lorraine is a double cross. That's very Knights Templar centric. I see more people, Kelly Boyles. Yeah, so I think when I see nihilism, I feel drawn to battle. And it's not that I'm repping the nihilistic abyss. Hello, Green-eyed Crow. It's not that I'm repping the nihilistic abyss. It's that I happen to know that there are handrails like Niagara Falls that tourists can come and they can look into the nihilistic abyss, but it's important that somebody tells them where the handrails are, because some people just fall right in. So yeah, that's something that kind of triggers me, is when I see nihilism in all of its costumes and dangerous repackaging. I like to blow my horn like the angel Gabriel tends to do.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah. So right now, the Uranus is essentially cruising out of Auriga in Taurus and is in Gemini. And Uranus is similarly very nihilistic in nature. Uranus it means so many things. It has a Schadenfreude, getting pleasure out of other people's pain, which Schadenfreude comes in all shapes and forms. When I say that word, it sounds sadistic, that like, oh, you like when people are injured, but we also like it when the right person gets their just desserts, and so when justice is served appropriately, poetic justice, we experience Schadenfreude because we like that this is karma of the universe. Everything is working fine. So Schadenfreude has that double-edged sword. But I've just, ever since Uranus has been making this maneuver past Auriga and into the Gemini, I just see it as very potent in the engineering potential. But I have a map. You want to go to graphics? I got
Let's do it. Let's do it.
James says,
and Reagan is not going to make it, so it's just going to be us unless Silas comes. So just so you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
I think he's busy with the family.
All right.
Always more important. So
Yep.
we
Big
forgive him.
time. James says that nihilism is the escape hatch out of materialism. Yes, I dig that. I dig that. Um,
It's
let's
like
see.
it's like a step, right? It's almost
Mm,
like a stepping stone, and some people don't ever get off it.
right. But something that kind of pulled the mystery out of nihilism for me was when I learned its old definition. They used to define it very clearly and simply as cultural exhaust. And I just love when a definition is just two words and it
Hmm.
says so much. And you could study nihilism forever and nobody will ever tell you that you could sum it up in two words: cultural exhaust. And so when I got that as my formula, I believe that the generating of culture is fighting against nihilism. And whatever arts, whatever creativity, whatever new innovations and excitement and playfulness you can bring in the world, that becomes your culture, that it keeps it new. You won't be exhausted if you can innovate, and
Yeah.
as long as you can innovate, then yeah, you keep on keeping on. Power to the playful.
Always reminds me of the dude, and you remind me of the dude sometimes too. And the Big Lebowski, and Maggie, my girlfriend said that too. That you sound like him sometimes, like what's Jeff Daniels, right? Or
Jeff
not Jeff
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, and who's the other guy? When the nihilists come and he's like, "Damn nihilists, don't believe in anything. Don't worry about these guys, Donnie."
That's great. Yeah, I need to watch that again because I'm about to watch Tron. And
Oh yeah, I mean, I need to see the Tron because I feel like been hearing things. So apparently,
yeah,
it's very predictive.
yes, I'm very excited about it. Let's see. Welcome to Slick Distance Gallery of Dangerous Ideas. I want to start tonight with the planetary. This is the tropical planetary placements. And it's a little, um, oh, wait, no, this is the largest placement that I have. But this is the territories map in action, ladies and gentlemen. Slick Dissident Original Logismoi. You'll only find these kind of thought forms here. And if you can see my mouse, uh, the territories map is the reverse. I have to flip the United States in order to fit it into the way that the zodiac rolls out on one of my favorite tropical uh, planetary placement websites. And so you'll notice that the United States is flipped from what you're used to seeing. And the sun is essentially entering into Scorpio at the moment, uh, where the death card and the hangman card are located. That would be Hercules and Ophiuchus. Hangman is Ophiuchus, and Hercules, you can see the actual shape of the constellation is the shape of uh, the death card in the Thoth deck here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the map, right off the coast of Florida, the flaccid phallus of America is where the sun is rolling right now. And just yesterday, a shallow 6.5 earthquake hits the East Caribbean in the exact spot where a bunch of subconscious indicators are implying shadows of doubt. So, yeah, when I see headlines like this that may go down in the history books, they might elucidate on these details further in the future. I just love to capture it in time and check it against the territories map. And sure enough, it's a bullseye because the sun is rolling through that quadrant of the United States right now, essentially through Scorpio as we move into uh, Halloween and Thanksgiving in the next month.
Yeah, buddy. And wasn't there aside from this earthquake, wasn't there like a jet or an airline or some sort of American military? I think it was a military jet that went down near China.
Oh, really?
So like it was like another water sort of could be some sort of like an act of war or something like that. But I thought Dabu covered that as well.
Yes. So many. He's actually been kind of working double time lately. Did you hear about the barrel of monkeys again? A barrel of
More monkeys.
more monkeys. Yep. They've got three different terrible uh diseases that they're carrying. It's like a perfect cocktail of the classics.
Oh
Uh,
wow! Wait a second. Let me see if I can find this now because there was something with Candace Owens and like the title for it
oh no.
it encoded the HIV
Oh
and
dang.
it was about Charlie Kirk and everything like that. Someone was getting upset with her. One of the oh man, let me see if I can find it really quick. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
I probably won't be able to.
The I'm pretty sure a year ago in of over this next month through the end of October and through November, exactly a year ago, this happened last year. A bunch of monkeys got released. And I did, when that headline happened a year ago, it might be a lunar year ago rather than a solar year ago. You know, like today might be a perfect lunar
Years since
calendar
yeah.
back. Yep. But when that headline came out, there was a lot of encoding for the 28 days later. You know, the film about the,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I was just talking about that last time. Remember the guy I just watched 28 years later.
right. And so from the headline, I haven't watched that yet. I'm afraid to, but
Oh, it's
I
good.
probably, it is.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Okay.
good.
I'll probably watch it.
And the
But,
end, super interesting.
oh, dang. Okay. Yeah. I'm
It's just a
probably,
character they introduced that you wouldn't expect it. It's like a weird, and
Mhm.
I don't think it's spoiling much. It's like they
Okay.
introduce a character for who's going to be in the next one, who runs a cult based on Jimmy Savile.
What?
It's really weird, and
What?
they dress like him, like all these guy people in the cult, and you don't know if they're going to be bad or good. It's very odd. It's out of
Wow.
nowhere. It doesn't match the tone of the rest of the film. It's weird.
Wow. So they put a stowaway at the end with a promise to return. Man, what a trip. Well, when that headline happened a year ago, I did the math on 28 days out from the headline, and it landed right into the election,
Hmm.
the in the inauguration process. So yeah, in so many ways, they love to uh, yeah, seed our expectations with these headlines. And so often the headlines are coterminal to each other that make a greater story, you know,
Yeah.
like you were saying with Candace.
Yeah, there's a lot. She actually even was quoted as saying that Musk and Thiel are hybrids. On one of the bigger news channels was talking about this, like one of the bigger uh more leftist news breaking points. Is that's a bigger leftist alternative news channel, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying hybrids. Candace says Thiel, Musk, Altman, not human.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, the Hydra constellation is a very important constellation. It's extremely long. Um, and it is actually the Aldebaoth. If you know, hold on, let me get the star map because I'll pull out Yaldabaoth for everybody real quick.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, we were talking last time with Silas about
Yeah.
cat-faced people.
Well, yeah, because I was coming up with all the Mithras cult
Yep.
stuff because the lion-faced serpent entwined entity is basically like a Baphomet Mithras.
Mm-hmm.
And the newest Tracy Twyman re-release video by that channel that keeps posting, she just literally mentioned that exact
Yep.
thing we were talking about, even though obviously it's an old video, but that's what was the person who reposted decided to that's the interview she decided to put up, one where she was talking about that.
Sometimes I wonder about all the people who don't announce themselves in the chat here on the dance floor. So Hydras with, oh no, excuse me, I almost misspoke. Hydra, no S on the end, is a female water snake. And that's important because there's a lesser sung male water snake also in the sky. It's way down south, and that is the Hydrus with an S, and that's a male water snake. And so Hydra is the second largest constellation by size of them all. Oh, no, excuse me. It used to be the second largest. And in 1930, they broke up the Argo Navis was number one, and Hydra got exalted into the number one position by size. So at this point, it is the most dominant constellation of them all. And so it essentially begins in Cancer. You can see Cancer here on the elliptic plane. And then we will be moving into Leo is here. There's Virgo. Here's Libra. Here's Scorpio. Watch how Hydra actually starts all the way in Cancer.
I'm looking
It goes
at it
past,
on Wikipedia. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
yep, goes past the Lion. It goes past the Sexton constellation, both of the lions. There's actually a tiny cat that is lesser known right here. It's called Felix constellation. There are 4 cats right here. There's the Lynx. There's the Leo. Lynx is here, the Leo minor, the Leo major, and then there's a Felix right here. So there are 4 cats in one stretch that are at the head of the Hydra, right? There are 4 cats at the head of the Hydra. And then the Hydra, it is so long because it's parallel to the ecliptic plane. But I want everybody to consider the poetry of, if this is the elliptic plane, ecliptic plane. I think I'm saying that wrong. Ecliptic.
Ecliptic.
Yeah. Hydra is underwater. You see, it's just underneath. You know, it's not northern oriented. It is just in the under the surface of the plane. And I think that is really profound. And then the ship that it defeated in 1930 by breaking up the Argo Navis is broken into pieces underneath Hydra down here. And that is the story of Apophis or Python against Apollo sometimes, sometimes another Inatu Pishtum or some hero grandfather who's always fighting the snake down. But that boat is broken up right now. And I would love to put a petition together worldwide to get the IAU to put that ship back together. I think that would be really profound. And the campaign and the intention behind it, I would frame it as 2 different things. It is bringing back the real shiny ships of relationships of the vessel of the family, but it is also making what is excellent great again. And I think that when we take down, like because the Argo Navis was so powerful and dominating in the sky, it stood above the rest, kind of like Silas was saying, the tall poppy theory, that anybody who excels too much in society makes it hard for competition in society. So they're always making an example of the greats. And so
Yeah.
I have a provocative phrase of make superiority great again, or laudable at all.
Well, the problem is they put it back together, though, then they don't have their 88 modern constellations that they love. And it's interesting that this 88 number just came up because I have a little bit of a, not really synchronicity, but I was just watching that guy who runs It's All in the Egg.blogspot, who does all the Crowley breakdowns on the OTO and whatnot. And he rarely puts up podcasts. He does like one every few months now, if that. And he just did yesterday. And it was all about the number 88.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. You send me a link. I'm going to grab my best 88 synchro mystic tulpa that everybody will definitely resonate to. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Find this.
All right.
I could
Johnny on the spot with the ultimate symbol of the 88, the most provocative Malthusian totem there is. There can be only one. The totalitarian mentality is infused into the shape of a 8, hugging another 8. And so the two eights are cupping each other, right? In a kind of a Ouroboros or limnoscate of sorts. But to make this very, very intense, the Crux constellation, CRUX, is a Coptic cross. And guess what number it is by size on the IAU list?
Is it 88?
It's the 88th constellation, making it the meek shall inherit the earth. This Coptic cross constellation is the smallest. It's the underdog. It's the number 88, the magic number 88. But it wasn't the number 88 until 1930, right? It would have been number 86 if the Argo Navis was put together.
Yep.
So it's only been synchrosignificant to the 88 since 1930. But I just love how people fight over this thing. People struggle and fight, and they foul each other. They throw their whole career at this totem. And it also is encoding the Crux constellation, which is a Coptic cross, which back in the day was considered the cross of the slaves. There are other crosses in constellations. The Grus and the Swan, Cygnus, are also northern and southern crosses, but it gets very convoluted in that.
I was trying to find this link too for this guy's YouTube to share, but it's so difficult to find because the name of it. Oh man. If I find it, I'll throw it in the chat for people to, if anything, I'll have to go to the website and find it because for some reason it's not even showing up in my history now, which is fun. I love that. That's freaking.
I'm sure he mentioned the piano keys, right?
Piano keys. He was mentioning actually like 88 is related to even like you have a bunch of AI and alien invasion type connections, even related to 666. You get everything. It can break into almost anything you want it to.
Yeah,
so like,
it is.
It was a long, his lectures are a little bit long because he's going back and breaking down all those blogs he did years ago. And he's kind of reading them and trying to remember what the hell he was thinking about during those times. But he's an insightful guy. Like there's a lot of stuff on the It's All in the Egg blog spot that's super interesting. Yeah. When I find it, I'll share it. I can't find it right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Sometimes I ponder the list of things I've forgotten in all these years. It must be quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it was smart of him to write everything down because.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff he predicted is coming to pass. Like even, and he pointed out that he like compared to even what like Kenneth Grant and Crowley were even writing, like he combined everything better than I think Kenneth Grant even did on his blog.
Wow.
Like he was finding more stuff than Kenneth Grant did that connected and is actually now playing out.
Yeah, that's super. Yeah, let me know if you find it because I'm down. I love how my Cherie, big love and respect, she's pointing out that also people might have seen the Pisces symbol on the basketball, which is a strange potential. Maybe I should say that maybe so Pisces represents the feet, right? But the basketball, it is forbidden to touch your feet. You should never kick the basketball. And so there's almost I don't know, maybe a mixed message. I'll say a perfectly mixed message to having the Pisces on the ball as well, which represents feet, but you're only allowed to use your hands.
Yes, sir.
I got quite a few more if you want to take another walk through.
Let's do it. I'm actually going to find that link to and send it to everyone in the chat for his Instagram because I'm on the thing now. He had a bunch of stuff that I know got taken down a while back, so just give me a minute and I'll grab it for people in case they want to watch stuff later. But his website, it's all in the egg.blogspot.com.
Right on. Oh man, my mind snaps into gematria when people say egg.
Dude, I mean, and that's what he seems to be big on too. I know like we don't get into that as much anymore, but he like that was basically all he was doing because it seemed like Crowley was like really like I mean he was always just like dealing with numbers and writing down numbers to see if there was like secret codes that were the universe were sending him. I remember the story about him going to that place in Italy, and he had to like write down the whole address and convert it into a simple gematria cipher to see if it was the place they were supposed to go. And he was
Whoa.
freaking out about it. Yeah, he was like really like, it's almost like he was superstitious about it. But
Yeah, yeah. So this is a graphic from in our Telegram. I believe it might have been over on Third Eye Edify. Somebody was discussing the realm of forms, and I have a lot
I
of
watched that video you sent over.
Okay, excellent. Yes.
It was good.
All right, nice. Well, once upon a time, on the bottom is kind of the general consensus of the way the universe is mapped out in the minds of the masses. And since this general map on the bottom, they keep adding new arms to the four major arms of the galaxy as it's, portrayed to the people. And in the original general map, there were four major arms. There was the Perseus arm, the Cygnus arm, the Centaurus arm, and the Sagittarius arm. And that really tickles my fancy because the fella who named the realm of forms was a wrestler. And he received his wrestling name that we still use as though that's him, but that's actually his mask. That's his persona. That's his stage moniker. And that is that Plato is the name his wrestling coach gave him because he had broad shoulders, and some even translate it to mean broad eyebrows, or he has a broad forehead because he is extremely wide in his eloquence. He has a breadth of eloquence. So yeah, nicknames like that, they just they unpack with so much meaning. But I love pointing out, if Plato was a wrestler, isn't there some cosmic poetry happening in the truth that kayfabe is unmasking politics? And anybody who has integrated what kayfabe has meant throughout culture can actually take the same recipe and go look at politics and say, "Oh my gosh, they're just doing it's just wrestling. It's more fake than wrestling."
Yeah, it's honestly and it's interesting too because kayfabe it has a very like this is the metaverse before the metaverse. You have a fake simulated reality that we were watching on our screens before playing in. Well, I don't play metaverse, but I'm sure people are playing in the metaverse now, and then they're gonna try to overlay it over everyone in an augmented sort of form. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yes. And then I just pointed, up here in the top is the more contemporary depictions of the galactic map, which has a Norma arm, a Scutum Crux arm. This is actually where we're going through right now. We're kind of going.
How many arms are there now? Are there 8?
Well, it kind of depends on who you ask and where you look. This one has 2 extras, but then it's lost 2 of the standards. So it's like they're just
Just
Frankensteining. Yeah, they're Frankensteining appendages. But I love to point out, I don't always back everything Freud says, but I know that culture has integrated his mentality deeply into our presumption. And so one of my favorite Freud quotes is, humans are a prosthetic species. And man, that resonates to a lot of people's experience these days.
It's interesting seeing the broad sort of forehead also makes you think of a gray. It makes you think of this alien thing again.
Yep.
Or
And he's
the
from
alien thing, whatever the hell.
Oh yeah, dude.
The lamb sort of.
You got it, man. I don't have the graphic ready here, but one of the most classic busts of Zeus's likeness can be turned upside down, and an alien's face is right there with such extreme detail. It's an alien lizard face, and it's missing a nose on this bust of Zeus, which it just rattles me to the core because the removal of noses is culture warfare from back in the days. I think the French were really into breaking off the nose of statuary. But this statue is not altered or broken. And when you flip it upside down, there is an alien that has no nostrils, or extremely subtle nostrils, maybe. Yeah, that is a creepy truism.
I wonder if we looked at Da Vinci stuff, if there would be something like that, because he had some weird drawings, or there's at least they're attributed to Da Vinci, whether he was even a person, who knows.
All right. I'm glad you went there. Here's one of my graphics from this week.
But he has drawings of like it looks like future technology, and I think there's writings attributed to him about having interactions with entities, sort of like they say Napoleon had the Red Man, like Da Vinci had his entity interactions, they say.
Yes.
So this continually seems to come up with these people.
Yeah, big time. I'm going to throw Tycho Brahe in the mix. He had a diminutive assistant named Yappa, and his diminutive assistant seems to be kind of the same thing, who's always under the desk, by the way.
Oh, and then the reason I bring that up with Da Vinci is because you have the Mona Lisa, supposed to be a self-portrait sort of thing, but Lamb sometimes is said to be a self-portrait of Crowley in the future. Like people say that he might have been drawing himself as an ascended sort of futuristic version.
Yeah,
which hideous, horrible, but
right. And you know, one of my favorite things with the Mona Lisa, there's so many mysteries in the Da Vinci corridors, but Mona Lisa is an anagram for alias nome, which means alias name, telling you that, you know, that's not Mona Lisa, that's some other woman that we'll never know. You know, the mystery of who that actually was is kind of drags people down the guarded path. Well, so cool you mentioned Da Vinci, because this graphic was my revelation that the word coincidence is a real strong phonetic anagram for Da Vinci Code, particularly if you were to spell it with two C's. I'm not spelling it with two C's, you know, DAVINCI, and then I did COD, and I pulled the E out, and you get 84, which is the exact equivalent of coincidence. But then I can do it many different ways. I could have pulled the DA off of Da Vinci on the other end of it and left the E on the end, and it would just be Vinci Code is an 84, which is, again, the same exact quality as quantity as a coincidence. But then down here at the bottom, I've done the same word, but I'm resorting to septenary at this bottom. Sorry if it's not clear to the viewers, but in septenary, Da Vinci Code fully spelled out, no breaking, no separating, is 38, which in septenary is the same exact value as a coincidence, is also 38. And so this kind of tickles my fancy, because so many times I'm pointing out synchronicities to the mundane minded, and they're storing it away in their coincidence file. And I often ponder, what really is the difference? You know, so I'm looking at the definitions, and, you know, the synchronicity is a state or fact of being synchronous or simultaneous. And also it could be a coincidence of events that appear meaningfully related, but do not seem to be causally connected, taken by Jungian psychoanalytic theory to be evidence of a connection between the mind and material objects. So that's all synchronicity. I put the big fat zinc in here because the zinc spark is how babies are born. that little light that flashes, that's a zinc spark, and zinc is number 30, much like tropical zodiac. A tropical zodiac is 12 30-degree stations. So it's zinc Chronos. Chronos is the zodiac at the time, the god of
Mhm.
time, and zinc is the 30. And we are in the city of an agreement of the minds to pay attention to tropical
I mean, you even
astronomy.
have Sin in there. You have like Sin Crone
Yeah,
City. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We're in
Like
like
a
we're in Sin City and we're in the city of Kronos, almost like that. That's where all the synchronicity takes place because there's outside forces possibly controlling.
yeah, man. And in a city, it needs to have a lot of causality going unobserved to stay on pace, to just keep on keeping on. So the causality is taken for granted. The more the population is more dense.
And I mean that's the cyberneticists love cities. That's why
Hmm.
more and more cities are becoming where we're getting 15-minute cities maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
That's why they
yeah.
want this though. Easier
Hmm.
to control the
Yeah.
synchronicity in the
And in my life, um, I get great pleasure out of discerning the difference between something artificially synchronous and
Mhm.
something genuinely organic from the powers on high that cannot be named. Uh,
Yeah.
there is such a vast difference in value between what is just something your computer might have uh, been trying to sell you and things that happen fully acausally.
Yeah, and that's something people don't talk about enough, the artificial synchronicities, which definitely happen.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
definitely are being more and more prevalent now, especially.
Big time. Yeah. And then, so I got the definition of coincidence at the bottom. Uh, the state of fact of occupying the same relative position or area in space, a sequence of events that, although accidental, seems to have been planned or arranged. That is so neat when you put these two definitions next to each other. This really is the crux of a great amount of Weltanschauungskrieg, conflict in worldviews. And then the bottom definition of coincidence is a condition of occupying the same place in space. Um,
That's interesting. It's
it,
weird. Doesn't seem to fit there. Like it wouldn't be what is it, Israel Palestine? Like like is that a coincidence? Like
so, so the graphic above, I want to do some explaining. I want to explain myself. Um, Something I value highly is having come to understand and appreciate that we talk about Gnosticism, which has so many branches. It's a very broad topic. But I believe that the word Gnostic has been slowly integrated into our vernacular to replace a word that once upon a time was a huge stigma. So if you're a conspiracy theorist today, it's because you must have a knowledge claim that nobody else has, right? And therefore, I think today we say conspiracy theorists. Last generation with Carl Jung, everybody was pointing at those damn Gnostics and the heresies of the Gnostics. Well, before Carl Jung and even before Friedrich Nietzsche was this pejorative that people would accuse one another of and even go out of their way to absolve themselves from being accused of being a Spinozist. And so being a Spinozist was once upon a time the social equivalent of being a Gnostic or a conspiracy theorist. And this seems so important because Albert Einstein said, I believe in Spinoza's God. And to put one person's name with a possessive apostrophe S at the end of it in front of the word God is high blasphemy. So yeah, Spinoza's God seems to be nodding to what type of Gnostic Einstein was. Like you and I, we talk about the Valentinians and the Sethians.
mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I'm thinking that Einstein is pointing himself in allegiance to Spinoza, who was cast out of Amsterdam for some level of uh, apostasy that we don't really know. A lot of Spinozas would go in on all the reasons why he was cast into Harim, but it's still kind of obfuscated through the annals of time. But this quote in the middle, with all my highlighting craziness, this is Friedrich Nietzsche's big epiphany. When I'm just going to read it in case people can't see it very well, but this is Friedrich Nietzsche the day he discovered Spinoza as his precursor. He says, I am utterly amazed, utterly enchanted. I have a precursor, and what a precursor. I hardly knew Spinoza. That I should have turned to him just now was inspired by instinct. Not only is his over tendency like my own, namely to make all knowledge the most powerful effect, but in five main points, that's a coins. That's a, I call them placenticles. But in five main points, his doctrine, I recognize myself. This most unusual and loneliest thinker is closest to me precisely in these matters. And just think of what I just laid out in the definition between synchronicity and coincidence. I think Nietzsche is fusing the two. I think he's conflating, he's doing alchemy on the difference between these two concepts. He denies the freedom of the will, teleology, the moral world order, the unegoistic and evil. So those are the 5 points right there. He lays them all out. And then he says, even though the divergences are admittedly tremendous, they are due more to the difference in time, culture, and science. In summary, my lonesomeness, which on very high mountains often make it hard for me to breathe and make my blood rush out, is now at least a twosomeness. And I want to say something that really tickled my fancy back when I was studying Nietzsche was that this word twosomeness is not always translated well. Some people will try to flim flam this word twosomeness into some other thing in English, but a really good translator will stay honest and use the word twosomeness. And this just floats my boat so much because twosomeness is an anagram for simultaneous. Simultaneous and twosomeness are anagrams to each other. And he was a philologist. I'll just leave it at that.
And you know, it's interesting when I'm looking at the wiki for Spinoza and him talking about this knowledge of the first kind, knowledge of the second kind, knowledge of the third kind. This also brings me back to the UAP alien, whatever the hell this phenomena is, because you have encounters of the first kind, encounters of the second kind, encounters of the third kind. Actually, I think there's 5 kinds.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, that connects to Jung too, because he wrote a lot about the UFO sort of phenomena as well.
Wow. Okay. I see some to be continued on that weave, some very large to be continued. That sounds very fertile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, packed full of meaning. And then I'm gonna share some of my personal stuff about this maneuver that this fella in the background of Spinoza's painting. You know, this is uh, um, classic cultural stigmatizing that Jewish people are stingy, so they're always bending over and picking up coins, whatever. It's a bunch of old world mentality. But I see so much more. I just see so much more than that. Mammon, the infernal spirit of the number 5, the observer, creative with a shadow of greed or avarice. The word avarice comes from the city on the Nile that had a lot of Hebrews on that city, and their taxing procedure was not friendly to outsiders. So the this trope of stingy people picking up coins, I think that what a lot of people see it and they assume they know what the symbols are, and that is the gregarious. They want it to be funny, and so they'll just take the first offer of what the symbol means. And I'm going to take it to a way off the path that where nobody would ever look. This position that this cavalier cobble grasping cobbler is demonstrating in his body language, this position is actually one of the fundamental moves in the dancing martial art that I love and enjoy so much. This is actually a pre-attack indicator in martial arts because he's about to do a spin kick with the leg you're not looking at. If you pay too much attention to what he's reaching at, because there is no coin here. There's no coin on the ground right here at all. He's reaching for he's grabbing it's nothing. But in the capoeira roda, I would know that he's about to kick me in the head because that is what his body language says to me. And in my particular sect of capoeira, we wear the shoes because we expect to be playing on the cobblestone. So yeah, this signifies a great amount of information, maybe to me that other people might not see. Oh, we also in capoeira sometimes we'll put a pouch of money in the center as donations from the crowd, and they'll put the donations in a little handkerchief and throw it on the ground, and you have to fight for the handkerchief, but you're not allowed to use your hands or your feet. You have to pick it up with your mouth, which is extra dangerous. So this one, I think I talked to this with you guys. Do you remember this, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The Draconid meteor shower is a very short window, and this is it is in October from the 6th to the 10th. And the headlines a year ago in that window of time involved hang glider attacks that was presaged in the Economist magazine. But I just wanted everybody to keep in mind that the cosmodrama of the sky, even in the lamest films like Escape from New York, they're really heralding real events or historical stories. I'll say it that way, because Mussolini was rescued by a bunch of hang gliders. And the one thing that's interesting, the Mussolini rescue was actually only a couple weeks away from this meteor shower. I think the rescue took place in September, if I recall. So it was only a couple weeks out from this Draco meteor shower, filling the skies with a fire-breathing dragon. That happens every year. The meteor shower radiant is coming out of the mouth of the dragon. And Mussolini defined fascism, some might say. And then this is Bonkersville. This is our graphic for tonight. Did you see the graphic?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. I have to explain my reasoning and show my work. I have to show my work a little on this one. It occurred to me that the concept of psychic driving is very much in full effect. I think it's completely gone hyperbolic to the max, hyperbolic and beyond ludicrous speed, straight into plaid, and it is officially hyperstitious. This is the first time in the DC arc that the sidekick is driving. And so first offerings are so important. So I'm looking at the artistic event in the comic books, and this panel is the sidekick driving, right? You know about psychic driving.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, what information was packed in when we were all so young and so tender to take in the first artistic depiction of a sidekick driving? And sure enough, Batman's over there thinking he's all disgruntled as the youth are accelerating. The youth are just moving right into accelerationism. And so Batman's thinking, I let Robin drive so I could properly concentrate on tagging Bizarro Two-Face, but now I'm regretting that decision. And then it says, not much leg room in the sidecar. Everything about this reality is uncomfortable. And this very much
Uh,
presages the tiny home movement, right? And
also,
Batman,
it's also RFID
you got it.
tracking trace.
You got it. Yep. Tagging Bizarro Two-Face.
Very
How many?
uncomfortable.
Yeah. How many IDs are people going to have to travel? Yeah, that kind of thing. Um, but do you see, Chris, the extreme similarities in the cityscape of the event that happened last month?
Wait, which event? Because now I'm.
Yep, like Rorschach, the event that is an anagram for like Rorschach. Look at this. Look at this walkthrough.
Why
You
am I
know,
forgetting which event you're talking? There's so many things that have happened.
Salt Lake City, Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where Charlie Kirk was sitting up in the tent and they were renovating the tiles of the crime scene right here. It's
Mm-hmm.
all so correspondent.
Got like the mountains in the background, even.
Yes, and even the stair step layout of the rooftops. The camera that recorded him actually fits into this architecture like a hand in a glove.
Yeah.
It's quite vast and profound. But likewise, in the newest Superman film, Crypto has to drag Superman to safety. So it's another sidekick driving happening in the Superman. And this one may be too old for you.
Rocky Colt Tum Tum, right? Sidekicks, or is that different? No,
Oh,
wait.
is that
Rocky
his?
Colt. Wait, no, that's three. Is Rocky Colt and Tum Tum sidekicks or no?
I
No, that looks like a Chuck Norris movie. This one,
You
huh?
got it. Yeah. This is a
Okay.
Chuck Norris from the 80s. I was going to be really impressed if you had seen it or remembered it. It is old. It's old. But this was on in all of the blockbusters and movie.
But
Uh,
that kid, isn't that the kid who played Colt in the other, was it Three Ninjas Kickback, Three Ninjas or something like that?
I bet it is. I bet it is, dude. I love how your celebrity mind is like a vast database.
And I could barely even see his face. I feel like I remember seeing Sidekicks once. I thought it was one of the same actors, but I could be wrong.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And when I looked up Sidekick, this movie came up, and right away it reminded me of how this guy's doing hand signals, this guy's doing hand signals, and how they're kind of framed in with each other, very similar to that cover art.
mm-hmm.
Oh, this one is random. This is random.
Oh my God.
This is random. I'm kind of being ornery. I'm only kind of being ornery, but Hamas. I really do think that the Greek travel industry is booming because the world is talking about Hamas and everybody's craving carrots. Are we going to go back to the 14 carat standard anytime? How many Hamases are we going to need to get back on the gold standard here? So yeah, I took our shocker weave that we did when we were breaking down. Was that Utah? It was Utah University or something. Had
Yeah.
the shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I made a Hamsa out of the shocker hand symbol. I put the CBS in here because there's always a eyeball in the palm of a Hamsa, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And so I made a Hamsa shocker, and I gave it a carrot to dip into the Hamas, which I really do. I think that they named that terror organization to drive people into a craving desire for hummus. It works on me. Every time I talk about it, I get hungry for hummus. I want some garbanzo now.
Makes sense, man. I didn't know there's a Shama. Did you know that? If instead of Hamas, a Shama, like a place in Ghana.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that would connect to anything, but thought I'd just mention it.
Okay. Well, it kind of does mean like it's a charm. Your name, como se llama? The word llama in Latin, it doesn't really mean name. It is better translated to charmed, controlled, commanded. And so when you say como se llama, it's quick and easy. It's gregarious and common to say, oh, that translates to what is your name? But really on the underneath, it means how are you controlled? How are you charmed? How are you commanded? What is your handle?
Well, and
What
that shocker thing with the eye, that's the evil eye type thing. And there's a charm that goes with the evil eye that's supposed to negate it. And I forget what it's called now. It's like that blue
To-
circular pendant thing.
okay. It's a talismanic remedy.
Supposed to ward off the evil eye. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Okay. Well, I'm going to I want to mention right now the CBS. I actually had a fun epiphany I'm going to share with everybody in a little bit about CBS. Yeah, something really fascinating has come into my psychic space, and I'm happy to share that in a minute. But this one was that you and I that we were talking about the
airships?
Airships, yes.
Mhm.
And the Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization Act, RICO. So yeah, I'm thinking about a Rico Church, the ever so happy survivor of the traumatic event, Erica Kirk,
Mhm.
and how in the twilight she is glad handing around with a lot of a Rico Church. And yeah, when I looked up Racketeer, when I looked up Rico, I immediately thought of the Rocketeer film. And sure enough, a lot of the art in the Rocketeer film kind of fits into J.D. Vance being powerfully correspondent with the Aeon card, because it used to be adjustment card. Now it's the Aeon card. And yeah, that's J.D. Vance's, that's his jam right there. He
There's
fits in
also
there.
something about that mask that's like it's almost like he's a combination of Iron Man and Doom.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But I mean, there's a little bit
Oh,
of that Art Deco thing with the long, elongated skull in the back, which is different. But everything else is like
mm-hmm.
very Doom in the mask and very Iron Man in the suit, and everything else about him, obviously.
Yeah. Yep. That the fun interesting thing about the film was that the helmet was very important for the aerodynamics. You know, he needed a way to steer what his vessel, and so this helmet is actually his only rudder to turn him one way or the other. And that's just kind of interesting to me, ergonomically speaking. And then this is the Stephen Hawking. Uh, this freaked me out when I considered Stephen Hawking could be the Chariot card. And even Stephen King. There is a strong fit for Stephen King to also be much like the Chariot card. But what is kind of strange here is Chariot card is in Cancer. However, the Charioteer is over in Taurus. Why would the Chariot card be in Cancer if the dude who is known for riding the chariot is a couple zodiac signs backwards from there? And I think I have finally figured out why. I think it has to do with the meteor shower cycles. There is a Perseid meteor shower when the sun is in Cancer, way over right next to Auriga is a Perseid meteor shower that runs a long time. It's a big window. And so a spotted lion is also correspondent to this time frame in the summer when a few degrees back on the zodiac there is a huge meteor shower taking place. So yeah, I think something I'm coming to appreciate is how the tarot card is maybe encoding its meteor shower location more than where the sun is at that time of year. And that's something I'm looking at to kind of layer out um, my meteor showers tracking system.
And it's interesting too, the Hawking connection with. I think it's going to be now the last season. They're coming out with Stranger Things, and Hawkins is where it's spelt without a G, I think, but they're from Hawkins. And this is where all these little black holes are opened up. And also there's the monster that that one channel who used to talk about the EMCO event, or the electromagnetic changeover event, where it was these huge plasma streams that and meteors and everything like that would be falling out of the sky, and it would be kind of like a catastrophe cycle would happen every however many years. And that kind of relates to, they used to say the symbolism in Stranger Things was showing that actually just in the form of monsters.
Oh man, wow, that is interesting. I always think of Cthulhu. Oh, no, Lovecraftian mythos is deep coded to economic collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever Cthulhu comes up conversationally, I'm always thinking of the fall of the banks. One thing I want to share that is really subtle. This is extremely subtle, but I'm just going to read this description of the Cancer constellation. Think of what I was saying about the lame character, much like Helen Keller, that this person is they're underdog, an extremely challenged underdog, but they shine so bright anyways, despite their adversity in life. I'm going to read something about Cancer, and just I think people will see the poetry in this. Cancer is the second dominant of the zodiacal. Excuse me, I started wrong. Cancer is the second dimmest of the zodiacal constellations, having only 2 stars above 4th magnitude. That's kind of fascinating. It's card number 7. 7 is the 4th prime number. The German cartographer Johann Bayer used the Greek letters alpha through omega to label the most prominent stars in the constellation, followed by the letter A, then lowercase b, c, and d. Within the constellation's borders, there are 104 stars brighter than or equal to the apparent magnitude 6.5. Ladies and gentlemen, the alleged earthquake event was a 6.5 that took place yesterday, I believe. And it was shallow. Okay, that's another thing. So in mythic astronomy, the character who is playing Caesar or Cancer or this particular aspect will have something of an obscurity or an occultation. Sometimes they're wearing a veil, so you can't really see clearly what's going on. Maybe they're the eldest in the room and their sight is dim, like Helen
Well,
Keller.
this is like from Game of Thrones. What's his name? The Raven, is that his name? The kid who becomes the blind kid who's from the waist down, paralyzed because he got pushed
Yes,
out the tower,
there
and
he
then he
is.
becomes the king.
Yep, Ericthonia status all the way. I think Rodrigo Borgia also has a lot of Auriga correspondence. And let me see. Okay, this graphic, I felt I actually kind of missed this one last time we were with Silas. And this is kind of bringing us into some of the tip of the spear in my research. And kind of like you were saying, that one fella did a whole breakdown on 88, and he was digging into his own, his old work and bringing it
Hmm.
together to culminate. That's kind of a lot of culminating is happening in this graphic, ladies and gentlemen. A great amount of culminating. Um, so Canis Venatici, we're going over to Virgo now. We're leaving Cancer behind. We're passing Leo, and we're going straight into Virgo, into the fall time of year. And Boötes is the great shepherd. He's standing on a mount. He's standing on a very important mountain under his feet that in the uh, astronomer depictions, like Urania's mirror is a great almanac of the stars that really goes into this hill he's standing on top of. It's kind of important. It's a Sermon on the Mount kind of thing. But he's holding the leash of 2 lesser known dogs in the sky. And I see so much research being foghorned as conclusive in relation to Canis Major and Canis Minor, as though that's all there is, the end all be all of the dogs. Well, I'm here to tell everybody there are two more dogs that are lesser sung, lesser known, and they unpack with so much more meaning to me. Sometimes I feel like when everybody's paying attention to what this hand is doing, I studied sleight of hand in high school. I was doing sleight of hand so long ago. I have a reflex to look at what the other hand is up to all the time. And so while everybody's looking at the spring dogs, Canis Major and Minor, which are legitimate minor deacons, they are more publicly renowned. But these dogs aren't even on the deacon list. They're that obscure, and their name is Canis Venatici, which is an anagram for Vatican science. And that tells me I should be paying a lot of attention to these dogs right here that are on a leash. That's one of the distinguishing factors. They're not um, they're not free range. They are being compelled into service. Is kind of the symbol here. Way back in the olden days, they used to say they used to uh, have a pejorative to the monarch. They would say he's just a dog king. You think your monarch is the end all be all? No, he's just a dog king. And that's a way of saying he's actually on somebody else's leash. You just don't know who's holding the leash. And so the one of the Canis Venatici dogs is called I think his name is Carus, Carus, maybe something like that. Maybe might even be similar to chorus, but that is so correspondent to Cyrus. And the prophecies of Cyrus's return are so important. And anybody who missed the memo that 9/11 was the American Straussian moment, you're going to have to do a lot of research to find out. They're telling you this has to do with the prophecy of Cyrus. And in the English language, the word Cyrus is today pronounced Charles. The word Charles is the same intention of the promise of a returning dog king. So I'm going to use my mouse here. Can you see this red basket on the lower dog?
Sort of.
Okay.
Can you make it bigger or no?
I wish. So I do not think so. Someday maybe I'll find out.
If you command plus, will it get bigger?
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. Dun, dun, dun. Dude. Oh my gosh. My ego can't handle this power. Look what just happened, y'all. Look at that.
Yep.
Chris,
There it is.
there it is.
I know
Oh
you
my
do. I know you got
gosh.
the Mac now, so I figured maybe it will work.
Wow. Yeah, my growth potential never ceases to amaze me. All right, all right. So
And then you can make it smaller with command subtract or
okay.
minus sign if you want to. Yeah.
I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. Okay. So in the news, this was actually this might be 2 weeks old, but somebody made this meme with our Melikowski over here, the boy who cried nuke. And I just picked up on that graphic. It's so cute. It's such a good meme. But this is also the depiction of the Boötes constellation. And in the week that this headline was coming out, we were about to move into the Festival of Booths, the what is it also called? The Tabernacles, Festival of Tabernacles. And so while the sun was breezing through Boötes, this meme comes out, and some people are celebrating this Festival of Booths. And also, MTV shut down, and MTV's logo is clearly the Virgo sign. It is so clearly the Virgo sign to me. And it was in that time of year. But it was shutting down after 40 years. Guess how many degrees on the zodiac in sidereal? The Virgo is 40 degrees. It's the most gluttonous and slothful of them all. And also, this was in the headline: King Charles is scrambling to deal with the latest Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein scandal that everybody says doesn't exist, as the pressure mounts to strip his younger brother of all his titles. Almost looks like titties.
It does look like that.
Kind of looks like titties. But This is important because in Latin, the word for shameful is vergonzosa. Sometimes also embarrassing can be called vergonzosa, and it has the word virgin in it in Latin. And so, yeah, while we were in Virgo, that one NBA player, she had her wig knocked off,
Hmm.
and that caused me to think about this wig constellation that is called Coma Berenices. Let me see if I can move the image. Yeah. Oh man, dude, my skills are just going to magnify to the max from this. Thank you, Chris, for teaching me some kung fu tonight.
No problem.
Yeah, man. So it's a little bit uh yeah, you guys can read it, I think. Coma Berenices, right next to Bootes, and also Canis Venetici, just to the north. These are all coterminal to each other. So when you see dramatic events, you'll think of one constellation and be thorough. Make sure you don't overlook its coterminal information. The word coterminal is such a great word. I can use it in so many ways, but the stars are the best example. And so the IAU, official abbreviation of this big wig in the sky, the official abbreviation is COM. And that is a very overlooked detail in our information age, don't you say?
Absolutely. How? Where is Arcas? Or the what is it? Arcturus?
Yes. Yep. Arcturus is the crotch star of Boötes. It's his dong is a big let's see if it's in
Because
here.
he's isn't it the god of weaving? And that's
Uh
like and like the hair thing is like a weave.
you
So I
are
wonder if there's a
correct.
connection there.
Great call. Yes. Yep. Arcturus is kind of in the crotch of Boötes. Boötes is often described as a kite shape. Some people call it the great kite in the
Mhm.
sky. And then big love to J Lo out there. I just want to say much respect, J Lo. I love you, sister. J Lo brought together some of her research many moons ago, and J Lo had discovered another kite constellation, but more from the Eastern astronomy, and it was saying that the Auriga that is over in Taurus, that Auriga is sometimes accused of being a kite if you include one star that is only acknowledged by some groups of astronomers but disregarded by other groups. So if you include that one star, that contentious star, then you can make a claim that Auriga is also a kite shape. But that fascinates me because it creates a both and that really excites me because when the sun is in Boötes on 9-1 is the pinnacle of the Auriga constellation's meteor shower. And so when the sun is on this kite, the rain of the heavens is lighting up another kite over in Taurus. And that is very exciting to me. And then I guess down here is Winston Churchill's one of his official images. This is his official portraiture. And I don't know when or what culture started having their image taken with the giant wig looking helmet. Can you see the thing he's holding?
Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen that actually ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of looks like, you know how the British soldiers have that big dumb hat, super dumb looking hat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It looks like maybe some kind of derivative of that. And I think it often has a gigantic plume, like a single large plume. This is a feather also. And so when I see that the royals are uh, uh, demonstrating their hair all dry, the heraldry, I know they're speaking star language right in front of everybody's face. And so I went straight from this picture, I went straight to Como Berenices and I'm looking at the likeness of the two and I'm just kind of fascinated that these big movers and shakers and world trade breakers, they sure love to signal their high knowledge of the heavens.
Yeah, they look exactly alike.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Also, I believe that Winston Churchill is, I think I can put his face right next to the Thothdeck Fool card, whose eyes are bugged out like he's on all the drugs at once. But I think I could make the claim that something about his bulldog nose on the Thothdeck Fool card. Winston Churchill used the term bulldog a lot, and sometimes people called him the bulldog in turn. So yeah, it's something about the Fool card fits Winston Churchill's likeness vaguely, in just a theory I have.
I wonder if that hair constellation has anything to do with Cousin It.
Oh yeah, yep. Oh my gosh, ooh, buddy.
I mean, you have IT in there too, so
Yeah.
you get the com, it.com, IT.
Holy camole, Chris.
And it's interesting because I was Cousin It for Halloween one year when I was a little kid. That's partly what made me think about it.
That's awesome. Dude. Okay.
Cousin
Yeah,
It.
that is so intense to me. Okay, I'm gonna say it. You never see IT. University. You never see information and technology. You never see IT. It's hiding out right under your nose. I is a 9, T is a 2. 92 is the number for uranium. Uranium is number 92. And uranium, Uranus, sometimes is correspondent to being invisible. I've heard the helmet of invisibility attributed both to Uranus and also to Pluto. I prefer to attribute it to Pluto because the word Uranus actually means bright or shimmering or shiny. But I wonder if it's, if you think about Predator, he's using a shimmer or a glamour to disappear.
Yeah.
So this graphic, I just want to, if anybody missed last week with Silas and Chris, I shared how much Ignatius Loyola looks just like the grand poobah of the Enneagram with its vices and virtues. This is Oscar Ichazo. And I'm quite sure that a lot of people are underestimating the Jesuit influence in your psyche. And so a great amount of my research is tracking down the provenance between this Ignatius or Oscar Ichazo's I Scare Ichazo's hailing to the Grand Poobah of the Jesuit Supreme. And down here, I just want to, this is kind of bringing a lot of weaves through the past month all together at once. Down here, this is important. The Sculptor constellation is kind of like an oracular head, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that is the Baphomet type head, St. John the Baptist type head. Yep.
Big time. And so a great number of important things are happening here. One of these two hammers, I'm not sure which. I don't really think it's the one that looks like a hammer. I need to learn more about this. I should probably talk to an official sculptor. I did talk to a friend of mine who did know about this a long time ago. I can hardly say it. Pneumatic. 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 It has this weird P in front of the N. But when people say that word today, they don't take the trouble to stumble on the silent P. They just call it a pneumatic hammer. But it has that silent P that pressurizes the whole word, really. Well, a pneumatic hammer is one of these two hammers that a sculptor needs. You could think of it as one hammer is for hard surfaces, but the pneumatic is kind of like a mallet. It's soft, so it won't chip away as much. It'll just generate energy. Does that make sense? It's less fricative.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lesser fricative tool or implement. And I think there's some linguistic insight in appreciating again in a new light what has been pneumatically removed from our psyche in a great way. But I want to mention Oscar Ichazo and Ignatius Loyola are the Jesuits. The Jesuits were sent out to hunt down the Protestants, and the Protestants had a very fascinating slogan, and that slogan is sola scriptura, sola scriptura. What's this constellation called? Sculptor. Sola sculptura? Did they give the Protestants a John the Baptist slogan and let them run with it? I wonder. I wonder. Or is it just all controlled opposition all the way down also? So the reason I'm going on and on about this, ladies and gentlemen, this is really poetic. And you know me, I got a thing for what is poetic. The Sculptor constellation, being an oracular head, is so significant because it turns out this constellation is considered the galactic South Pole. And so pivoting all of the controversy of the oracular head and the bafflement of it all is actually astronomically flawless, because regardless of what you think is up there, this location is the downspout. This is, you could think of this as the plumbing of the way the stars operate. It all funnels down to this oracular head. So this is the galactic South Pole. And this is really poetic because if this is the anode of the galactic South Pole, wouldn't you know, Coma Berenices is very proximal to what is attributed as the galactic North Pole. And we have a full anode cathode. We have an oracular head. And where do you store your wig when you're getting it all ready and beautified? You throw it on a dummy's skull to comb it or to store it.
Yeah, buddy. And it's interesting too. Cousin It was created by Charles Adams.
Oh, damn.
And
Wow.
and there was a crossover with Scooby Doo, apparently, and Snoop Dogg voiced him at one time.
What? Snoop Dogg voiced
in 2019 to 2021, and I mean, he had sunglasses and he had a top hat as well.
Wow, man! Wow, dude!
And I didn't know that Cousin It, they spell it with two T's, but then it's saying it's spelled with two T's, but spelled it doesn't even make sense. Cousin It, ITT, spelled IT. What? That doesn't make sense. But
wow, I wonder if cognitive dissonance is an anagram for Coma Berenices.
Right?
That's pretty fascinating. Okay, and these are just some of the graphics. Before I knew that I could just zoom in, I just threw these in for clarity. But yeah, okay, I want to say, so I think that so often we are actually being given very subliminal commands to wipe your mind, to make a difference in how you think. And the tabula rasa, I think a lot of secular minds are obsessed with cleanliness to such a degree that they hermetically seal every event, every fact away from the connectivity of everything is everything. I think a lot of the secular mentality is a revulsion from everything is everything, and connections offend them. And I think that in the subliminal, the English language is brainwashing itself constantly. It's a large forest from the trees that I'm trying to convey, but this is one tree in that forest. And that is that when you put .com at the end of everything, it is signifying this constellation, Coma Berenices, but it's also much like a comb. And when you comb your hair, you're kind of you're self-grooming. And this just lights me up because the word groomer is a trigger word. And everybody thinks that it's other people doing the grooming, when in fact, every time you said .com, I think you were grooming your damn self, and building up a resentment for, um, yeah, the child traffic, which is really hailing to when you had to go between classes in high school, right? When the bell had rung and you shut the book and changed the subject and moved through child traffic. This
Mm-hmm.
is all cleanliness. You're wiping what you were thinking about and eagerly moving into class warfare. So, yeah, those are some of the weaves of how much we self tabula rasa constantly. And let me check. I'm going to scout ahead. Okay, this is the graphic I want to share next. Okay, so if that wasn't creepy enough, ladies and gentlemen, was that creepy enough, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the chat. It gets creepier. Kind of a fun thing about art. You ever see people in the art galleries, Chris, that they like stand there and let themselves get into a trance staring at a
Yeah.
piece of art? You ever see that?
Yeah, they look at it like they're actually like they're seeing something insanely inspiring or something, an abstract piece of paint thrown on the wall. Yeah.
Yes. And I am really coming to appreciate what that is doing. They're extracting the 10,000 words. You know, you're not going to get the 10,000 words if you just breeze through that damn museum. You're barely going to get 100 words per painting. And you paid good money to go into the damn museum. So take your damn time, you know, and if you really know what you're looking for, you can pull out and extract riches beyond words. Um, So the more I, much like an artist, contemplate and delve into the synchro significance of this coma berenices that is just reverberating with meaning in my consciousness, the more it dawns on me. Big respect to James True for proliferating the concept of the corned bean and squash sacrifice. That's been a thing that old James True's been on about for a long time, about the corn, bean, and squash, the holy trinity of the indigenous cultures
Mm-hmm.
of various places in the grand Americas, right? North and South. CBS, corn, bean, and squash, coma berenices. The berenices, I got let me zoom in with my new magic abilities. Here we go. Let's see. There we are. Okay. Coma berenices is recognized as an asterism since the Hellenic period, or maybe much earlier, according to others. Always with the squabbling. There's always squabbling with facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only modern. I highlighted only modern because that's telling you there are a great many other constellations from olden days that are named for a historical figure. The way they word these things are so cunning. I think people breeze over it a little too fast. So it's the only modern that is named after a historical figure. Well, that's telling you that there's a great many others that are not modern that are also historical figures. That's my point. Um, it was introduced in Western astronomy during the 3rd century BC by Canon Samos in the court of astronomers of Egypt and the ruler of Ptolemy III. Something covered up there. Berenices, this queen from the Egyptian Ptolemaic consort, she vowed to sacrifice her long hair as a votive offering. Boom, corn, bean, and squash, votive offering. If Ptolemy returned safely from battle during the Third Syrian War, modern scholars are uncertain if Berenices made the sacrifice before or after. This made me stand up and dance, y'all. This made me stand up and dance. I love this part. This part. Scholars are uncertain if Bernice made the sacrifice before or after Ptolemy's return. I get a huge giggle out of this. This reminds me of in some rituals in Jerusalem, they still fight tooth and nail over whether you light the incense before you go in the temple, or do you wait till you're in the temple to light the incense? And in some Islamic cultures, they really go at each other's throat over whether while you're praying, do your hands cover your heart, your solar plexus, or your belly? Like where your hands go. They get so up in arms over this fine minutia of the rituals.
Well, and you also
Um,
have Hasidic Jews who the women will shave their heads and wear a wig. Yeah.
Yep, 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 yep. These things are all stellar, y'all. It's all stellar, which doesn't make it tomfoolery. It just makes it deep and profound. Um, and this also lit me up because my father has a really hilarious story. He took his rosary to a priest to have it blessed, and so he was transporting it to the priest in the church to make it a big deal. He doesn't do this kind of thing much, but if he's going to do it, it's going to be a big deal to him. And so he's sitting there with the priest, and the priest is like, "All right, let me see your rosary you got there," and he pulls it out of his pocket, and it's in a um, a plastic container, like a food storage container. And my dad is like trying to get the container to open, and it will not open for the life of him. And he's like getting all nervous, like, this is a special ritual moment, and he doesn't do ritual moments ever. And somehow this damn container's getting in the way of the ritual. And the priest lays his hand on my father's arm and says, "Relax. The blessing will go through the plastic." and I just love how humbled my father was, and that's one of my favorite stories of his. But when he told me that story, it reminded me of so many times that I actually get done with a meal and think that I forgot to give praise and thanks for the food. And when my father told me that story, I realized, oh my gosh, my gratitude and thanks and praise for the food, it's not restricted to before I eat. I can say thank you and praise after I eat, and it still goes backwards in time and fulfills the requisite. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so many times that the order of operations are perfectly subject to the will of your intention. That's kind of that's what I'm pointing out with that one. Um, But yeah, CBS, corned bean and squash, ain't that something? Now I'm looking at this thing. Can you see that it's also the classic optical illusion? Do you see the similarities, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the classic optical illusion. And even with old Winston Churchill, it had that big feather in his portraitry, was that big feather coming
Yep.
out of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the vastness and consistency of these signs and symbols, they never cease to amaze me. But when it comes to votive offerings, I think one of the creepiest ones here, let me zoom out, is the Opus Dei with the whip and the Silas. Hey, where's Silas right now? He's going to love this. Our buddy Silas. I I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. It might be Salisa or something like that, but yeah, the Silas is the garter. You know how ladies on a wedding they pull their garter off their leg and throw it to the next lady to get married?
Yep.
Or no, I got that wrong. The flowers go to the
The
next
flowers
lady,
go, yeah. But
and
so the groom will pull off the garter, right?
there it is. Thank you. Yes, and that goes to the next dude who catches it. He's supposed to get married superstitiously, right? So yeah, some of the celibate members, there's your votive offering. To be celibate is a votive offering of Opus Dei. Use the Silas. It's a small, light metal chain with little prongs worn around the thigh. The Silas is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be kind of like wearing burlap, or wearing certain fabrics that are agonizing on the inside.
Yeah.
It is
Or the shirts of hair.
That's it. That's it. Just like this wig. It's like a
Just
shirt
like
of
the
hair.
wig, yeah.
Oh my God.
And this is also BTK coming back around too.
Yeah, buddy. It's so fast. It is supposed to be, but it does not in any way hinder one's normal activities, and there's absolutely no Da Vinci Code gore. Oh, no, it's all coincidence, folks. Da Vinci Code equals coincidence. And then, well, here, I'll zoom into the bottom. And, I don't know. One thing that I want to say, I do believe that Schopenhauer was a crypto opus Dei. And if you read Schopenhauer's essays on noise, it's not a big ask. It's only like 20 minutes long if you want to listen to it. Schopenhauer's essays on noise, he's talking about how the rabble, the low class rabble in the streets are intentionally making noise so that the hoity polloys in their houses can't think straight. It's it's pretty diabolic. The classism of Schopenhauer is fully diabolic. As much as I love and appreciate his old curmudgeon wisdom, he is, he's an asshole of the highest order in his own right. But yeah, I just zoomed into this so people can look at some of the more about what the Silas and Whip is all about. I think also that Machiavelli was crypto opus Dei, and or maybe I shouldn't say opus Dei, but practitioners of this ecstatic technique. I'm going to say it that way. I can't say that they're opus Dei, but I can say they are very likely practitioners of this technique to get into ecstatic states.
Do you remember our favorite, one of our, one of our favorite, I shouldn't say our favorite, but one of our good friends from the Avengers who was in the Da Vinci Code and was doing things like the Opus Dei would do. I don't know, he might have been Opus Dei, but he was torturing himself. Do you know who it was? Do you remember the actor?
From the Avengers?
Yeah, you remember the character? At least I can't remember. I don't know. I can't even remember the actor's name.
What was he? No, you tell me.
Vision. He's in Da Vinci Code. The priest.
Oh, wow. Wow.
One of the second one, maybe. It might be Angels and Demons. I don't know which one's first and second, but he's the one he's the priest who comes in the parachute, I believe.
Right? Dang. That is brilliant, man. That's brilliant. Dude. Vision is also in the Solo film. And Solo is secretly Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. And now he just went on Tucker too. You saw that?
Dude, yes. Have you heard that the Opus Dei is having like a huge blowout? And like the Pope is actually trying to dismantle the Opus Dei and remove their bishops and then put in new bishops in place. And in the word bishop, people should go read how the echelons of the church are ordered. Check out the pyramid structure of it. The word bishop, it's obviously a chess piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were boats in the original chess. Those were ships, and the church made a stink and said, no, you got to put bishops in place. But I want to say this: the extreme aesthetics are sometimes called anchorites. Now, these are all old facts. So whatever they attach to today, it might not be as dogmatic, but I think the dynamics are still there to see. So the anchorites are extreme aesthetics. Sometimes they only live in one location on land. They're grounded in. They sometimes have a cubby in a sacred temple or building that's not comfortable at all, and they just live in this shitty cubby all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they have a shack or a bunch of stacked stones that is something like a shelter, but that is a sacred closet for them. So they live in the closet of their sanctuary.
Wasn't there like a nun or something, or she became a saint, a woman who actually was one of the first to actually live their whole life in like one of these little stone shacks? I can't remember.
Maybe would it have been Hildegard?
I have no idea. I'd have to look it up.
She was seclusionary, but I don't think she was hard. She wasn't living the hard life, but she was seclusionary. I'm not sure. But
yeah, I can't. I have no idea. It might be or it might not. But I know she didn't come out after she went in. I think she like basically stayed in there, ate in there, and then died in there. There's like a little grave.
Yeah. Well, something about these extreme aesthetics and these anchorites, they refuse. They do not respond to the normal chain of command. They have an exception to everything that you would think is how things operate in the pyramid of the church. Mm-hmm. The anchorites only have a commitment to respond to the commands of the bishop. And so now,
Interesting.
I'm going back to the chessboard. I'm looking at where the bishops are positioned. They're one removed. There's the knights, and then there's the castles. And I'm thinking very much of the castles as correspondent to the anchorites, because they're in a stone structure, but they only respond to bishops. And of course, in chess, one of the best kill moves is the bishop to the corner. The bishop kills the rook, right? So the bishop commands the anchorite. And so I just want to put all of these ingredients into people's potential workspace when these headlines are coming through, because so often they are putting they're putting chess moves into headlines. And I wonder if, like, some of the big movers and shakers are actually playing chess games with each other in the news articles. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's masterclass.
I would not doubt it. I mean, that is if any articles are even written by people anymore. Most of
Yeah,
them could be
maybe.
AI. A lot of them are AI, I'm sure.
Yeah. What if it's
Who's
dueling AIs putting
Yeah,
chess moves in the news?
yeah, and I think the AI has been around way longer than people think. Writing articles, especially in magazines like Time magazine and whatnot. If you read some of the older ones, it's like, what is this? This doesn't seem like a person's writing this. It's odd.
It is. And it's kind of it's almost, if it's been around so long, think of this. Like, does that mean that when it was earlier in use, that it was harder to detect because it was actually working well? And what if it's actually becoming more obvious to us because it's making mistakes and hallucinating? And what if that is actually a symbol of it breaking down? You know what I mean?
Could
Um,
be that, or it could be showing how much belief makes
the world
like
go round.
affects the belief of, or affects the existence of something, even though it would technically exist, just not in the public consciousness.
Totally, totally. That makes me. We had that conversation with PK. Do you remember when we were talking about the difference between I think and I feel and I
Hmm.
believe? And I was thinking that belief might be more in the realm of feeling. Um, but I'm also thinking about belief. So this is a separate thought form, but they're coterminal. That Leo Strauss, he has a concept called the cave within the cave. And this is, everybody knows about Plato's cave, and you would presume that you were just in one cave and that once you get out, you're good to go. But Leo Strauss has bad news for y'all. He has bad news. He's here to tell you that you're actually inside of a cave underneath the first cave. You got double duty to get out. And everybody who's in the deeper chamber, the deepest chamber, they are stuck in the realm of opinion. I think that we might be able to say this is the realm of belief. Opinion and belief, they're kind of like coincidence and synchronicity. You know what I mean? They're so similar. So he says that so many people are caught up in the realm of opinion. And I think doing a lot of work with your own antipathy and sympathy, not getting caught up in repulsion or attraction too much, walking in moderation, can help you to pull out of that lower cave of opinion and belief. And then, but you're not free yet. You are not free yet. There are still layers of illusion outside of that. But so often I think everybody does this to themselves. I flatter myself to think that I'm not this is not my opinion. This is objective fact. We're all striving for the objective. But yeah, very much I think of Leo Strauss's cave within a cave with opinion and belief.
And that matches up with back to Tracy Twyman's apparent discussions, or at least what she claimed to be discussions with Baphomet and with who was it? Was it Cain? Was it
Cain,
Cain? And was Cain the one
Cain.
who was which one was saying, or was it? Did she even talk to Mithras too, or
She had
which one? One of them was saying that when they were breaking through the realities, and then they wound up. She said
back.
the planchette on
Yeah,
the Ouija board went under the board, and it was like he was telling her that when he was breaking out of the one reality, he just brought him back to the beginning.
I
Like
remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
I
he had to like
think
restart.
I
Like there were
wonder. 'Cause
layers.
yeah, she was bouncing between Kane and maybe
I thought it
Baphomet
was
proper.
Baphomet. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
forget which it was, but yeah, the planchette just uh, was in a self-referential loop.
Hmm.
The planchette had an eternal return, a Friedrich Nietzschean eternal return right there.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah.
what a
Her stuff's, man, it's weird, man. It's
yeah,
really weird.
super weird. On if anybody has not heard me say it before, I have a great theory about the eternal return of Friedrich Nietzsche. And it is totally a thought experiment, but let's imagine that some of the Ubermenschen of the Second War are extremely highly accomplished Ubermensch, and they have actually achieved the eternal return. And so we will never see their souls reincarnated into the cycle. Their souls are constantly going to be back there in the world wars, and that will be their eternity. I think, and let's just pretend it worked. Let's pretend there's a handful of them that actually achieved the eternal return and they're doing their little Groundhog's Day forever uh, in the hereafter. Wouldn't it be so fascinating if the Mandela effect was designed to collapse all of the eternal returns? If you change events and facts backwards in time, you collapse all those Ubermenschen's Vanilla Sky experience.
So when this is going to be a little bit of a connection, but I don't know how much. But remember Lost? Did you watch Lost?
Yes.
Do you remember Desmond? Desmond Hume. I brought him up in the past. Desmond, yeah, and he was the only one able to go into the. It was like they were in purgatory basically in those last few seasons, and he was able to die and go there even when he was awake. Sometimes in the real island world, he was able to go to the purgatory and to that afterlife where no one could remember who they were except him until he woke everyone up. But
Whoa.
the reason they said when he met up with Faraday, the reason they said he could go back and forth was because Penny was acting as an anchor, as the one that he loved and that allowed him to go back and forth in time and back without forgetting who he was or without collapsing, I guess, the timelines and whatnot. It's almost like these anchors, if once
Yeah.
they change, like once the histories change, like that, these Mandela effects are to us, to some people might be anchors, but to other people they totally forget. So it's like what's acting as the anchor? Is it the Mandela effect itself acting as the anchor, or is it that breaking the anchors that people had
Right.
to collapse things, or is it just some people who are gonna
Dude,
like?
these are dangerous thoughts, bro. These are dangerous thoughts. They light me up so much. They light me up so much. What if let's just what if for a minute. What if the reason why the uh Abraham Lincoln's assassination has that ridiculous list of correspondences to the JFK? What if those facts are a scaffolding holding in a uh, faction, a time faction of eternal
It's
returns?
like an anchor for them. It's like their
Right.
anchor. Yeah.
Yes. And then the JFK one is a new faction of eternal returns. And they are mandated on high to repeat these parameters over and over and over. And I bet some computer heads could listen to my words and be like, he has no idea we already do that all the time
Hmm.
with computers. You know what I mean?
Right.
That something in my words is above my pay grade on high. And I think there's something to that theory right there. We should give it a slick dissident moniker right here and now. You heard it here, folks. Don't let the computer heads tell you they thought of it. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. Here's it. Holding the portal of the fourth dimension, the fourth Reich, the fourth turning. Yeah, man.
Go
Man, that number
James.
four, I tell you, a lot of pressure on the number four that kicked down the fourth wall so long ago. Oh, oh no. Oh,
Sorry about that. It's
Tiki is
rough.
here. I'm sorry to hear that. Super sorry to hear that. I was thinking, Tiki, about a very shameful thought. I'm going to share vulnerable, shameful thought. And it's not even remotely close to what you're talking about. It's not even close. Um, but it is correspondent to some thoughts I had recently. When I was a child, I had a Dalmatian dog, and my folks were aware when we got this dog that it had epilepsy. But I didn't know what that word meant, and my parents could tell me this dog has epilepsy. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, okay, it's a great dog. I love this dog. It's all good. What I didn't know, there was no context for the word. And one day I'm laying on the couch with my dog and we're watching cartoons. And all of a sudden, my dog is like aggressively scratching my leg. And I thought the dog was being an asshole. And I started kicking the dog back, like, stop kicking me. And that was my first time realizing what epilepsy means. This dog was having a fit. It wasn't guilty of any damn thing. And I feel like such an asshole child, to think back of the first time. Oh man. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We had to force medicine into that dog while it was in the fit. We had to put pills on peanut butter, and you don't know how many is enough to bring the dog back. I'm sorry to hear that, Tiki.
Yeah.
That's very intense. Yeah. Recently, YouTuber put out a video. Anton is a science space geek. He's way up NASA's butt, but he put out a very short clip about how his own YouTube videos, he's using AI graphics, and his own YouTube videos are doing light flashes that might cause a seizure. And he was getting feedback from his audience, both in the chats, but then he was getting emails telling him, what you're doing is super dangerous. Don't you realize? And so he had to go back in his own work and find out that the AI was putting out images that were very likely to put people into seizures. And he was doing a disclaimer and telling his audience, I can't stop it. I've gone through all of my parameters in the YouTube and whatever, and I can't stop it. They're not going to admit that they're doing it. And so look out, everybody. This AI might be starting seizures everywhere. And that's just one more reason to not sell out,
I've been noticing now too on a lot of TV shows that warning's popping up, and it wasn't always like every show that I put on, and now I feel like it's almost every other show is saying if you're sensitive and have a problem with seizures, there's flashing lights, blah blah blah. Don't watch.
Dude, what if you know how we say fair use? I wonder if they're going to have there's going to be an add-on to the end of fair use. Fair use, and sorry about you if you skits on this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
And that reminds me of like a different form of The Cell, like right, The Cell with Stephen King, when you pick up the phone, but this is more you're watching.
Yep.
Like it's just gonna trip people out.
Keep it organic, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it organic at all costs.
And that's even like a picture is 1,000 words or 1,000 flashes or 1,000
Oh wow.
psyops.
Wow. That is profound. Big love, Tiki. Big love. I don't know if you know this, but Morris, the guy who invented the Morse code, there's a curveball in his biography. He was rushing home to see his wife who was ailing. He was on the train to get home to her, and she passed away before he could get to her. So when he got home, he developed a code that is named after him. And the history books will tell you he developed the code to out of the goodness out of his heart for philanthropic reasons. And this code was him hoping to put a system together so that he could have communicated to her from a long distance. However, I like to think that that's a curveball, and he's using the code to communicate to her from vast distances. And that is the true intention of Morse code. And
Well,
they want you to
dude,
think it was telegrams.
Stranger Things.
Totally.
Remember? Did you the last?
Yep.
I just saw this last season where that's how they're doing Morse code through the lights from the upside down to communicate with the people in the real world. They're like trying. That's the only way they can do it.
Big time, big time. It's a combination Morse code Ouija board with Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't there another movie with that where the same thing happened? Oh man, there was, and I can't even remember. It was a show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, I wish I could remember what it was, but it was like someone was in a. Oh no, okay. It was Parasite, wasn't it? With the people did Crazy Rich Asians. I think some of them were in Parasite. It was all in Chinese, if I'm not mistaken. And at the end, when the father or the son, one of them's in the basement of the house, they start doing Morse code to signal the sister or the brother that they're still alive in the basement.
Whoa. That's
Yeah,
trippy.
Parasite.
That's
It is Parasite. That
okay.
won like a bunch of awards and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That's an Edgar Allan Poe too. You know, the knock, knock, knock.
Yes.
Somebody's buried in the wall of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and something else. And this is just random. Us in the information age. These things just float around and attach to the conversation. I'm pretty sure the Morse code that I learned as a kid is dash 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 dot 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 dash 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 dot 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 dash dash dash. I think was what it was. But if you look it up today, I think they changed the standard for SOS. I don't think SOS is still what they taught me in Boy Scouts. I think they flipped it.
I don't get one thing about the Morse code, how there's the longer dash and shorter dash, and how like when you try to write it in, for some reason to translate it, I can't get it to work. I can't get it to translate correctly. Like it's like, and how short is a short dash versus a dot?
Right. Yeah. And wouldn't it be crazy if somehow by changing the standards of Morse code, we've confounded all of the eternal returns back in the that have been communicating from the beyond? That's a trippy notion. The knockers. Oh, those knockers. Everybody loves some good knockers.
Oh, there's so much there that we can get into it, that sort of stuff. Like it's reminding me even of like back to the Ouija board and stuff, and the language, and just yeah. I got to think about it more though before I start talking on it and don't make any sense.
Maybe we'll bring this back up on the next weave, y'all. I want to be more accurate when I say that they changed Morse code. Maybe they only changed SOS because of some confusion. That they thought it was efficient, but maybe they found something more efficient.
Are there different versions of Morse code? Let's see. Morse code. The International Morse Code. Yeah. Gurks, G-E-R. It almost looks like could be Grok if you just changed around a few letters, but G-E-R-K-E. Gurk's refinement of Morse code. So there's a different version there.
What year?
Where does it say the year? Gurk's code was adopted in Germany and Austria in 1851. You have American Morse code, 1844, and then it gets revised, I think, in 1851.
Wow.
And then there's a few different, looks like, revisions here.
Wow. I watched a very succinct video on the military letters, Alpha, Bravo, Foxtrot, all this. And that was a really great, because I find out that there used to be 3 different dances in the military. There was tango, there's Foxtrot, and a third dance. There were 3 different dances. They removed one of the dances, so now I think there's only 2, and they replaced my favorite one. Was like Tango, Foxtrot, and I forget the other one. I think it's the letter U. I'm not sure. But then at the same time that they took one of the dances out, they also changed zebra for Z, and they turned it into Zulu. And that's a trip because the Zulus are some dancing warriors and they know all about the zebra technology. That trips me out.
Yeah. And
I-
dude, there's some crazy letter. I didn't even know some of these were. So now U is uniform.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I took a screenshot of it, but maybe, you know what? How about this, Chris? What do you say on the next show? Let's bring together some of these threads about like Morse code and the military. I'll dig into, bring the synchro slick mystic skills to the military code systems.
Yeah. That's
That sound
definitely,
fun?
and language, and even I want to bring up some of these Ouija board things because I think like things like the skull experiment and what Tracy Twyman did are interesting, and how
Mhm.
they were talking about, especially how Tracy Twyman talks about language and how it's like it's like a part of the programming here, obviously.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her yeah, so much of her research is like, oh, I got her books right over there and I'm like, "Oh, I could go look. I could go look. I could just reach over and grab and figure it all out." But ooh, what a commitment. What a
Yeah. I mean,
commitment
and
to
her
go back in.
name is so interesting too. I mean, that's what we were talking about the one time, the twin man, trace the
Yes.
whole twine, and there's so
Mhm.
much in there.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Trace twi mon. 3, 2, 1, go.
And then I think twine, I think rope,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the weaves with weaving spiders are 6 hours long.
Yeah.
And just in that fact alone, there is a deep occultation to some of the best nuggets on the internet. So many people are not going to spend 6 hours to find some of the gravy we laid out back in the day. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah. Some of the things that the weaving spiders have put on record, I hope they're still out there somewhere because I can barely believe the details that are not in the books. I can just barely believe some of the details that are not in the books. It's going to be a movie someday, but they're not going to name it right. They're going to call it something else.
I didn't realize. I think they took the one paranormal activity scene from her work with when they're filming the Ouija board going really fast and then translating it. Like that's what she
Mhm.
said she was doing, right? She
Yes,
had to
they have.
film it.
Yeah, they have parsed. Well, it's hard to say which is the chicken or the egg here, but yeah, a lot of her biography is totally baked into a great amount of culture. My favorite of which is the chick from Metropolis is Tracy Twyman.
Oh, and Jodie Foster.
And then Jodie Foster is also, it's the same archetype, the same tulpa being immortalized for the annals of time. For those of you who are down for the eternal returns, keep your eyes out for the Jodie Foster lookalikes out there. Perfect voice match. Perfect voice match. Textbook voice match there.
Yep. Yep.
And Metropolis was silent.
Yeah.
That's actually an important aspect, that actress from back then, we never heard her voice, right? You know. Howard Ramberg, thank you for joining, buddy. Welcome to the pate. All right, buddy.
Oh,
You
there
got
was
more?
no. When we come next time too, there might be
Yeah.
some movie things with language that I'll see if anything really fits. Just because the picture being 1,000 words reminded me. I was looking at for some reason Field of Dreams came up again today, and there was a picture on the Field of Dreams wiki from NASA apparently overhead of Iowa, but it looked like just a bunch of dots, like a bunch of pixels. And
Shadows of
and they were
Doubt.
saying Iowa's heaven, I guess. Or was it Iowa, or was that where it is? Yeah, this is heaven. No, this is Iowa, right? That's a quote.
Fascinating.
And they use a NASA picture. Who knows? It looks like just a bunch of pixels, which are supposed to be crop circle type, crop plots from farms.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
from an
Wow.
overhead view, and there's no blue in the picture. It's all greens, and it looks
Mm,
really weird and digital. Doesn't look real, but them saying that was heaven, and then you mentioning the pictures being 1,000 words and just all this language stuff. Also, the parallels to everything said in that movie to human trafficking is really weird.
All right, you said parallels in Iowa, and I've got to bring it together. You could I guess I can do it like a weatherman. I don't have to actually get up. So right here is Iowa on the eye of the Sphinx in the Grand Territories map system. This eyeball is at the sacred 40-degree parallel. Give thanks and praise to Mike Wan for illuminating the 40th parallel.
Oh, and on the 11th, right?
Yes.
11 or no 10th.
10.
11 10 we're gonna have her Mike Wan and Emily Moyer on.
It's gonna be the biggest weave ever. So yes, the Sphinx in my territories map, her eye line starts in Iowa, it goes through Ohio, Illinois, which is Zion Hill, it goes all the way through a whole bunch of other eyes, a great many other eyes. But my favorite, the 40th parallel, is going right across, and right here is the Eye of Providence. And this is Lovecraft's signature on all 70,000 correspondences in his lifetime. At the bottom, every letter he wrote, I am Providence. He's a shut-in. And here is the Eye of Providence. And when you go across the ocean, it cuts right through the Basilica of Rome. Mm-hmm. And that is all 40th parallel weaves of vast and profound proportions that I hope I can remember them all to share with Mike when we come together. I'm so thrilled. Yes. As of right now, we have an appointment set up for Emily Moyer, Mike Wan, and Chris and myself. It's going to be a big family powwow, y'all. I hope everybody can make it.
Be fun.
Yeah, very fun. I owe so much to Mike and Emily Emily. Yeah.
Same.
It's so profound. It'll be great to weave in person and show the gratitude so that I don't have to give thanks and praise after the fact. I look forward to giving thanks and praise when the chance arrives.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here's Cornig, California is the 40th parallel. Ooh. Wow.
I didn't even realize California is so huge, man. I can't even believe it goes up that high.
Yeah, that's some good growing territory. Some very good growing territory. Come to think of it, let me see. While we're talking about California here, one sec. Virgo, 40 degrees. Look at the ganja buds in the background on that card. Looking like wheat stalks, but not if you know your ganja trade.
It's also a Battle of Los Angeles, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, right. When you flip it.
All the lights shining up at the...
All the lights shining up like the Battle of Los Angeles. And then, okay, let's go. Okay, this will be our grand finale, and then we'll let everybody go. Cocaine on the end of the tongue. Here's a boat. Cocaine boats. Are they blowing cocaine boats up? In Langley, Virginia, blowing coke boats, y'all. They love this card. They love this card so much. They got a big thing for the virgins because they think you're all infantilized. And I'm happy to pop your cherry tonight.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, it's also fluorine is number 9. It's number 9. And the whole fluoride revelation is at hand. Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, ladies and jellyfish, thank you for joining us on the Slick Distant Shared Artistic Expression. What you got anything else? Any other shows on the for sure list?
Right now, that's about it. Probably random. Obviously, Saturdays I usually do with Ronan on Saturday nights, and then I randomly will do lives on my channel. So whenever they pop up, I just send them out.
All right, excelente. Well, I always want to remind people to feel free to donate below, like, share, subscribe, and slickdissident.com has all kinds of goodies, and I'm about to add some more goodies to the goodie availability. So yeah, save up your pennies, your nickels, your quarters and dimes. Don't turn them into bullets too soon, because Slick's got some real wares to spread your thoughts, vast and wide. All right.
Awesome.
Big love and respect, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Later, guys.
Peace.